we at Actionpoint are looking into the issue of damages, which occur to paint cans while in transit through third-party couriers. Current methods use a variety of style of boxes, such as an 0201 box, many of these also using unnecessary amounts of void fill in order to protect the paint cans, resulting in reduced efficiency and increased costs. To combat this problem, our idea is to create an internal fitment which will stabilise the product during its transit by suspending the can away from fragile contact areas.
I started the design by measuring the paint pot and working out how the fitment could hold that into place without movement with inside another box, which then looking at putting buffers on top and bottom to avoid shock when it's dropped. I started by sketching out drawings on my sketch pad just so I can picture it before I put it onto the CAD system. At that point I'll measure up the paint pot and then I can transfer that information into the CAD system. First is probably draw it in plan view so I can see the size of the paint pot, the dimensions of the fitment that I need, and I can work it all out from that point. So it's kind of starting from the inside out and working out the fitments that need to go inside another box. I can use the 3D software that I can manipulate and see if it's actually going to fit before I go to the cutting table. So once I've cut the sample out, then I can really test it and see if it's actually going to fit the actual paint pot that I'm doing it for. I start with the fitment, and if that's correct, then I'm going to move on to the outer part of the design, and that'll be the similar process where I can work it out in the CAD in the 3D first to make sure everything's lined up in correct size, and then go to the cutting table and cut out a sample to double check that everything fits, and it'll be tested from that point onwards.
Starting off with the testing process, we made sure that all flaps and creases align and fold correctly, allowing the paint pot to sit securely inside the box. Next, we performed the shake test in order to simulate potential movement and or vibrations during transit. Finally, the most crucial test out of them all, we performed the drop test in order to assess whether our bespoke packaging design could adequately protect the paint pot even under extreme circumstances during transit. Throughout the testing process, we'll adhere to the ISTA 1A testing procedures, ensuring the accurate evaluation of our product's performance, as the weight of the packaged product falls within the range of 0 to 10 kilograms, and it will undergo drop testing from a height of 76 centimeters, as indicated by the ISTA 1A guidelines.
76 centimeters. We have paint. We have paint. Ready?
Yep.
Oh dear.
After analysing the reason behind failure of our initial design concept, we carefully considered the issues and made improvements to enhance the structural integrity of the box. Specifically, we focused on reinforcing the closing flaps in order to prevent any damage and or leakage caused by the previous design during the testing process. Throughout this redesign approach, we aim to successfully test the bespoke packaging concept and ensure its ability to protect the paint pot effectively without any damage or leakage.
Okay, from 76 centimeters. Ooh, we have opened this.
We inspected the box and the contents inside it. The paint pot remained completely intact with no signs of damage or leakage.
So from feedback from the customer on the original design, they wanted to make a few changes to it. They wanted the fitment to be integral to the actual box itself, and they wanted to be able to tape the box for sort of tamper evidence. So we come up with a different solution that had the flaps integral to the box that actually hold the paint pot in place, top and bottom. I've basically changed the internal fitment and I've made the buffer zones a lot larger. I've actually increased the, or changed the board grade as well actually, to a BC flute rather than the EB.
Right, are we dropping it from the same height? 76?
Ready?
That's it. Shall we check? Hey. Please work. Do you want to take it out? Just double check. We inspected the newly redesigned box and the contents inside it. The paint pot remained completely intact with no signs of damage or leakage. This successful outcome demonstrated the effectiveness of our meticulously crafted bespoke packaging design in safeguarding fragile products while minimizing the need for excess void fill materials.
Changed the board grade, give it a bit more sponginess and a bit more strength. We've also increased the top and bottom buffer zone, which allows for a bit more movement to absorb the paint pot going up and down. The problem with this paint pot is the base, if it hits the ground, it will pop that top off. So we need to absorb that power going into the ground. We've also got the flute directions going in opposing directions. So whichever direction you drop this paint pot, it should, in theory, not damage these parts, because each part is protecting each other. So this was dropped, doing the drop test again, and this one was successful, I'm pleased to say.
So the process that we went by with the paint tin project was really that trying to understand what parts of the shipment of that tin actually go through, looking at the industry, looking at the type of customers that would actually use and actually need and require paint tin to be dispatched through its internal network or externally through 3PL. And then really the process kind of falls back onto the design team. So after we've spoken to the customer and actually found out what the requirement is, we then bring that back and actually look at the design and hand over as much information as we can. Well, it really was, we looked at the design process initially before we understood fully what the customer requirement was, because this project was very much based on an understanding of the industry that paint tins are actually distributed in. What we actually had to do is design a concept without too much customer feedback initially, and then actually sort of bring that to the marketplace to actually review. So having somebody on board to actually talk through the issues or the sort of the pains that project or that painting might actually go through is actually really where we started.
We've kind of been looking at this from 4 different angles. We've been looking at it from the point of view of the end user, so the people who are purchasing paint tins, how the package will arrive with them, and make sure it's nice and user friendly for them opening the package. Of course, we've had to look at it from the packer's point of view, how easy is the box to pack, and then also from the point of view of how easy is the box to manufacture. So when we put it down our manufacturing line, there's no point having a box that's amazing, does everything you want, but then takes a long time to manufacture. Then, you know, the price just outweighs the benefits of it. And then fourthly, we've had to look at it from the point of view of branding and kind of unboxing appeal as well.